Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment, and it is time to begin my 2017 NFL Draft Scouting Reports, and today we're talking about quarterback Deshaun Watson out of Clemson, and he has been a very polarizing prospect in the draft process thus far, and after I turned on the film, I really understood why. Let's start with his build. Okay, he's 6'3", 215 pounds, and I would say this is a good size for a quarterback in the NFL. He plenty of height here, 6'3", that's plenty height. And you look at his poundage, 215 is a little small, but I've seen quarterbacks like Ryan Tannehill and Marcus Mariota and Teddy Bridgewater weigh less than this or just about this, and they've been just fine as well. So I think this is fine for Deshaun Watson. We move on to his 2016 stats. Over 4,500 passing yards for Deshaun Watson. Wow, that is incredible. 67% completion percentage. Although he wasn't a quarterback-friendly scheme in Clemson, they're still very impressive. 41 touchdowns and 17 interceptions. The interceptions here are too high. 17 interceptions is way too high, but he threw a bunch of touchdowns as well, so I'll put that into consideration. His projected 40 time, I project him at about 4.65, and that may seem like a little slow. It's slower than Cam Newton, slower than Marcus Mariota, slower than RG3, Colin Kaepernick. I do believe he's a guy that won't be able to rattle off an 80-yard touchdown or anything like that. But he is a guy that can get consistent yardage, okay? If you're doing read option plays, he'll get 10 yards, 8 yards, 6 yards, 10 yards, 12 yards. And he's a good runner. If you watch the film, he's a good runner, but just not that elite athleticism, but definite good athleticism, especially at the quarterback position. He's not a wide receiver. We move on to his strengths, okay? Arm talent. I like his arm. I like the velocity with which he throws the football, the speed, especially in the intermediate throws that he has. Definite arm strength there. Not great, not on the echelon of a Jay Cutler or a Matthew Stafford or Aaron Rodgers, but definitely good, and he could improve in the future as well. I really like his mobility. This is a guy that can move around, and as a runner in the open field, a very intelligent runner. He knows where to go to maximize his yardage on almost each and every run that he makes. Sometimes he's a little too adventurous, and he'll run into Reuben Foster, and he'll end up getting helicopter tackled, which is a little scary if you're a head coach or a general manager, but overall, I really like his mobility and his ability to be an intelligent runner out in the open field. We look at his pocket presence, okay? This is a guy that I really think has underrated pocket presence. This is a guy that I saw multiple times evade blindside sacks, sensing pressure, sensing when it's time to escape the play, and sometimes he'll run as opposed to throwing an open receiver on the other side of the field where he's not looking, but still he knows when it's time to leave the pocket. And this is something that I actually prefer him over Deshaun Kaiser. There's not much I prefer that Watson has over Kaiser, but this is definitely one of those traits. Watson definitely has superior pocket presence that I've seen almost every quarterback in this draft thus far. I really like his pocket presence, and he's a guy that was only sacked 17 times in 14 or 15 games. That's a very impressive total. His offensive line is not great. It's good, so that tells me that he's definitely doing a good job there. In terms of intangibles, great intangibles, okay? He's a great kid. He has some mother issues throughout his early childhood, even his late adulthood, but he was able to deal with that. He's a great leader, a principled guy, and obviously he's very clutch. He led his team down the field in the fourth quarter of a national championship game and won the game. Last year, when they lost the national championship game, he was able to bring them within 5 points. So you love the intangibles. You love that he shows up in the fourth quarter. You love that he shows up in big games. When we look at the weaknesses for Deshaun Watson, extremely inconsistent accuracy. Man, sometimes it can get just straight up bad with Deshaun Watson. I had to go grab a barf bag because I thought I was going to throw up with some of the throws that Deshaun Watson was making. You saw Deshaun Kane, one of his wide receivers, have to walk backwards into the end zone like Michael Jackson doing the moonwalk because Deshaun Watson had underthrown him so horribly. It was just terrible. You even see him overthrowing wide receivers from time to time. You see him just not hitting wide receivers in terms of where you need to hit them so that they can get more yards after the catch, maximizing that potential. Ball placement, a huge issue, but he's very good on a specific number of throws, specifically comebacks to the outside, back shoulder fades and stuff like that. But for some reason, when it comes to stuff like slants, when it comes to stuff like go routes, you'll see very extremely inconsistent accuracy from Deshaun Watson. When you look at his ability to read the field, it's not great. He rarely moves safeties and linebackers with his eyes. And at the NFL level, that's a very dangerous thing not to do because they will read you, okay? And he needs to be able to move his eyes, move his head, trick these safeties, trick these linebackers to find more success in the NFL. And also sometimes he just throws balls just because the play call may say, okay, this is your number one progression. This is what you should be throwing first. Even though the look the defense is giving you does not indicate that you should make this throw anyway, he still does it. And this could be indicative of his offense, of what the offensive coordinator or what the head coach wants him to do. But I just saw throws that, man, as a quarterback, you can't make that throw. You have to recognize that the cornerback is playing 5-10 yards off. Mike Williams is great, but he's not going to win this. I can't throw this football. And he would do it anyway. He would sometimes tempt the free safety like Malik Hooker in the college football playoff game. You can't do that. You have to move him with your eyes. You have to fool him. He couldn't do it. He needs to improve here tremendously. The good thing is, though, this is a guy, a prospect that can improve as the years goes on. He's only 21, 22 years old, so this is something you can definitely improve upon, but I'm still seeing even guys like Jay Cutler that can't do this even at the stage he's at. So this is worrisome. In terms of a pro comparison, how about this pro comparison? I've heard a lot of Cam Newton. I've heard a lot of Marcus Mariota, RG3. How about Ryan Tannehill and Vince Young? And I think he's somewhere in the middle between these two. Tannehill has a very similar build. Okay, Tannehill stands at 6'4", 216 pounds, so just 1 pound taller, 1 inch taller, and 1 pound heavier. You look at their arm strength, it's very similar. Their mobility, extremely similar, I would say. Watson's a better runner, but not by much. Their pocket presence, I'd say, is pretty similar. Watson would have the edge there, but the accuracy would definitely be on Tannehill's side. Tannehill is a much more accurate passer than Deshaun Watson, although Tannehill does have his accuracy issues even at this date. Vince Young, when you look at that, he's definitely better than Vince Young. Okay, I'm not saying it's Vince Young, but like Vince Young, he's able to bring your team down late and win a game for you. Okay, on a final drive in the fourth quarter, he will lead your team back. He has those clutch intangibles within him, and he doesn't have anywhere near the other horrible intangibles that Vince Young has. So I think it's a mixture of Tannehill and Vince Young, and that could excite you or that could worry you depending on what you want him to be. When we move on to his best fits, I really like the Kansas City Chiefs sitting at 24 in the first round. I think this would be great because Deshaun Watson is a guy that's going to need time. I think 1 or 2 years, maybe even 2 years, preferably 2 years. Now, you just can't bench a quarterback for this long in the NFL now, and I understand that, but this is a guy that's going to need time to work on his accuracy issues and work on reading the field. I don't really want to get into his offense and that transition. I think that transition is a little overrated. I've heard that point made before when it came to Marcus Mariota time and time again. I just think he's not very good right now reading the field where Mariota was really good. So I want him to develop, and I think with Kansas City under Andy Reid behind Alex Smith, he could do that. But if a team wants to take him in the second round, look at these teams. How about the San Francisco 49ers, the Cleveland Browns, and the Buffalo Bills, all viable options. And I really think we're talking about a second round quarterback here. Or at worst, possibly into the first round, but I'd be shocked. From what I saw on the film, I would just be flabbergasted if a team took him in the mid or early first round. I don't think you could do it. I think that is a move that will get you fired as a general manager. He just has way too many issues, and this is why I give him a prospect grade of 77. Okay, and what this means is I think he's going to prove to be a below average starter in the NFL or perhaps even a high quality backup. Again, when you have the accuracy issues that he has, and it really wasn't due to his mechanics, it was just due to him not perceiving where to throw the ball in terms of anticipation, in terms of ball placement. That worries me. And can you fix that? Some quarterbacks have in the past, but a lot of quarterbacks have not. I look at a Jake Locker, I look at a Vince Young, I look at a Christian Ponder, I look at a Blaine Gabbert. These are quarterbacks that had similar traits to Deshaun Watson, but could not fix their accuracy issues. I think we're going to see something very similar with Deshaun Watson, I fear. So to conclude, Watson definitely has the tools to develop into a decent NFL starter, capable of leading a great team to a Super Bowl. Like he led Clemson to the to the college football championship. I do believe Watson could do something similar with a great NFL team, but with his inconsistent accuracy, he could flame out very early in his career and prove to only be a high-quality backup in the NFL level. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on Deshaun Watson. I really wanted to see more from him, but man, the inaccuracy really bugged me. And before you sit down and watch a highlight video and say, look at these throws, I beg you to sit down and watch his game and dissect his throws. Not really his running, but his throws against Ohio State. Even his throws against Alabama. His throws against Florida State and some other games where you just say, man, what is this guy doing? Where is he throwing? What is he thinking? And you will see that, yes, Deshaun Watson is a quarterback that, yes, you can take him in the second round, but man, he needs some time to develop if he's ever going to be an NFL starter. There you go. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Comment down below. I want to know. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, to subscribe. And until next time, this has been the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. Peace.